Hey, welcome to our Tuesday Zoom class. I am so excited that you are watching this. If you are watching this on replay, regardless of what platform that's on, please put hashtag replay so I know what you guys see as valuable and know what's being watched so that I know what kind of content to continue to create for you to help you on your weight loss journey. So if you don't know me, it's a new year, so new introductions. I'm Danya Powers. I go by Coach D because it's a little bit easier to pronounce. My name gets whacked up all kinds of ways. So I am a coach and have been for 20 years. I shifted to online coaching in 2019, and that is how you have me here. I have found that online coaching is a much better way to help women consistently overcome their obstacles in regard to menopause, in regard to food addiction, in regard to just mindset, mentality, all the things that come with sustainable weight loss, and teach them how to eat forever. Has been an online platform that's been the best. So that is what I do now. And this is primarily my full-time income. I do a lot of different things. I wear a lot of different hats, but this is my baby. So you get to be part of it. If you're new to this group or you're new to my channel on YouTube, I do try to offer as much free stuff as I possibly can to help as many women as I can. We are going to talk about breaking through weight loss plateaus. So I will say this is the one main reason that you should consider hiring a coach. If you have ever lost weight and then gained it right back, there is something not sustainable in your program. And that is where a coach comes in really handy. Now, with every client that I've ever had, we hit what I call plateaus. There are no real plateaus. Just because the scale is not moving does not mean that your body is not changing. And so a true plateau would be that you start to move, that you're starting to gain fat and gain weight and gain inches. Now we have a true plateau and we're back into the gain zone, right? But most of the time, if you are not losing weight, but you're still doing everything that your coach has you doing, and you're still working out, you're still probably losing. So be mindful of the fact that the scale is just one way to measure. It's an important way to measure. We do need to keep an eye on the scale. But I watch things like your waist. What is happening with your waist? I watch things like, how do you feel? How do your clothes fit? Those things are important. So I wanted to make sure to preface that with this, because if you're obsessed with the scale, don't be married to the scale. In fact, if it's an issue with you, unless your coach has you weighing daily, which sometimes I do have clients do that because I need to watch what's happening within their weight loss, because sometimes you're just playing a game of ounces and you need outside eyeballs to really trust that process from time to time. But if you truly hit a plateau, coaches are genuinely such a great tool, because this is what we do. There is no doctor that does this. I've never been so hurt and frustrated as I was walking through menopausal weight gain in the medical industry, because they know nothing and they can't help you, and their hands are completely tied to help you. So you want to go with coaches who have a lot of nutrition training background and whatever it is that you have got going on your goals, or you want to go to a nutritionist. Even bariatric surgery, which I deal a lot with people that have had bariatric surgery and regain. There is not enough counseling for you to help overcome food addiction, which is what you got to there in the first place. And so I always deal with people that regain. So we have to always walk back through. Let's work through the psychology that didn't happen the first time, which is totally fine, because you know what? Everybody's on a journey, right? And regain can and will potentially happen to all of us. I don't know. I probably gained and lost hundreds, thousands of pounds at this point in 47 years old, right? Almost 48. Woo, woo. It's my big 48 year. Okay, so causes of plateaus. Let's get sciencey really quick. So nerdy hat on. Metabolic adaptation. That's the word I was looking for. Lord have mercy. Menopausal brain is strong today. So with metabolic adaptation, happens especially with programs that do calorie cuts. So they do calorie cuts. So what happens is that it slows down your metabolism, because the metabolism adapts to the fewer calories. Therefore, it has to slow down. Cannot be as efficient as it was. And when your body cannot be as efficient as it was, you have a change in the ability to adapt to the calorie expenditure. Does that make sense? You're going to hear things with weight loss like deficit, or you're going to hear, in layman's terms, that is, you're burning off more calories than you're taking in. The problem is, if your body's having to brutally keep up with the expenditure, the calories out, it absolutely cannot also help you lose weight. It's going to do everything it can to store and retain muscle. And so when you embark on a weight loss journey, you will typically create a calorie deficit, consuming fewer calories, which we do. We just do it the right way through my program. I'm not doing it based on some wacky number that's thrown out all over the place. That is not what I do. I base it on you, your specific needs, your specific desires, your specific metabolic rate in general, so that we do not have a metabolic adaptation too soon, because it does happen, and then many times we have to refeed to kick things in again. So, but it can potentially lead to the slowing, which is a plateau, right? So it's really kind of one of those things that when your metabolism reduces, it can actually add to a reduction in your resting metabolic rate. So the problem with that is that you are going to burn fewer calories during times of rest. And we need our bodies to be very efficient and to burn a lot of calories during times of rest. So generally speaking, if you haven't had a coach tell you this, your first goal is to put on about 10 pounds of muscle. Put on 10 pounds? Yes. Why? Because with 10 pounds of muscle, your body at rest will naturally just burn an extra 500 calories a day. The body is going to try to conserve energy if you are not getting enough, and therefore you are going to have fewer calories burnt at rest, because it would have to steal from muscle to get the food that it needs, and we don't want that. We don't need that direction, right? Just be mindful of the fact, if nobody's ever told you this, a pound of muscle is about that big. A pound of fat is about that big. So 10 of these looks great. 10 of these looks chunky. All right, just to keep that in mind, okay? So one of the things I want you to keep in mind too is that since I deal with menopausal women, changes in hormones can cause plateaus. So the metabolic adaptation that's happening can fiddle with those and impact those hunger signals. Hunger is very critical. If you are taking something that is decreasing your hunger, you're causing your metabolism to drop. Just be mindful of that, okay? Dropping your hunger is not going to help you long term. It is going to cause you to go into metabolic adaptation faster. You will always plateau, okay? Always. I've had people tell me stress eating. That's a big one. Stress eating, is it stress eating or are you thirsty? Is it stress eating or have you not eaten enough food? Is it stress eating? It causes you to eat food. And if it's thirsty, it also causes you to drink water, because when we eat, we get thirsty, right? Your body's not stupid. It's literally having to do what it needs to do to keep itself alive, because we're choosing not to. It's like cleaning your house. You're going to do that. I mean, we have stank booty breaths when we get up in the morning. We brush our teeth, right? Why is it so hard to realize that the body needs us to pay attention to the cues that it's giving us so that we can sustain it, so that we can be healthy, so that we can be strong? Your body becomes a little bit more efficient. And this is part of metabolic adaptation. And when it does, it's a little bit more efficient at using the available energy. And so over time, the same amount of calories may not actually cause weight loss, which is where people are like, cut them, cut them, cut them. I'll be honest with you. Many times I'll cut just to feed. I will cut to see if they drop. If they don't drop, we need to feed. Does that make sense? Because that's telling me that their metabolism has adapted. And again, that is where a coach comes in handy, because you may not know that. You may not know to do that. You may not trust that process. I mean, I hired an accountant this year. Let me tell you why. Because I don't trust my process. I have a lot of clients now. I'm taking care of a lot of women. I want to make sure that their needs are met, and I want to be able to focus on my mind, energy, and soul there. So having to take care of my taxes and having to take care of my finances, all the different stuff is pulling away from my energy. So I've chosen to handle that in a different area, right? So now I can adapt to where I'm at. Well, the body does the same thing. It is going to pull from where it needs to, store where it needs to. It's going to trigger storage if you are not feeding it consistently every 2 or 3 hours, and you are going to have that energy efficiency change. So we don't want that. When that happens, you will struggle with something called muscle loss, which means that we lose less. When we lose muscle, we have less muscle, and the lean muscle requires more energy to maintain than fat. So if you are not eating enough food, the body has to reduce muscle mass to conserve energy, because it takes too much to keep you rolling. You're not feeding it enough. And also, it is going to have to steal from it to have the energy to keep your organs, your heart, your lungs, your brain alive. That's always its focus, because Those die, you go. And it's trying to keep you alive, right? That looks like a little spider. Every time I look at that, and I'm just like, oh God, there's a spider. It's not. It's like a little thingy in my thing. Okay, so sorry. ADHD moments. So the other thing that might cause a plateau, I know that we're going long here, and this is super nerdy, so you can always hit pause and rewatch. But an inconsistent calorie deficit. What does that mean? That means that you might stay on your meal plan 2 days out of 7. You're going to plateau. You're not going to lose weight. You have to stay. If you really start a plan, you need to stay on it 7 out of 7 days for at least 3 weeks. And then you can probably add a refeed day or, an extra eating out meal. I do not say cheat meal. I mean, do you cheat on your husband? Do you cheat on your wife? No. So we don't say cheat meal. We just we own our stuff. We put on our big girl panties, own our shit, and we're going out to eat, right? So the other thing that might be fiddling with it is sodium intake. If you're not drinking enough water, you might be retaining water. That sometimes will mask fat loss because water stores around fat cells. So just kind of be mindful of that. 96 to 128 ounces is really critical when you are working on losing weight or any athletic goal, okay? And so the other thing is the body adapts not just with food, it adapts with exercises. So every 4 weeks, usually I add a progression change into my client's plan and it's nothing too drastic, but you need a change. And I'm not talking crazy change. I'm not talking P90X muscle confusion. That's a bunch of BS, but you need a change. The adaptation is a real thing, but it's not a massive change. It could just be a schedule change. It could just be that you add a little bit more core work. It could just be that you're adding 1 more day of 20 minutes of cardio. It could be that you're adding fat burning across the board. So the adaptation is the real deal, but we are just going to work around that. We're heavier lifting, maybe. We're changing how, instead of doing a bench press with a bar, we're doing dumbbells. It's changed. The stability is different with dumbbells, right? Those are the things. So, and that's where I coach. That's where we come in really handy because this is all we do. We help people work out. We help people lose weight. That's what we do. You want to make sure that you focus on non-scale victories. That's really important. When you have any kind of a weight loss journey, you are going to hit moments where the scale doesn't change. So focusing on those non-scale victories, like we talked about at the beginning, but other stuff can be about it. Lexi, my client Lexi, fitting down this curvy slide with her kids as her hip fit. My client Leela, fit in the bathtub. No scraping of the booty on the sides. Those things are huge. Being able to wrap a towel around yourself when you weren't able to do that before. That is a huge non-scale win. Being able to wake up feeling energized, being able to go to sleep and sleep all night, being able to have the energy to get your workout in and then take your kids and play in the park for 2 hours. Those things are huge, massive non-scale wins. And when you are in a plateau, put your mind there so that you know where to go with it, okay? Because we have to remember within our journey, it's always, and it doesn't matter if it's a scale victory, if it's a financial victory, if it's all this different stuff, it's whatever that we're trying to have. There are going to be ebbs and flows, and there's going to be wins and losses. But if you focus on the prize, you're good. Long term, I want to be healthier. I want to be stronger. I want to be here for my grandkids. Those things are what you focus on. And within those are those non-scale victories. Well, playing with my grandkids, getting up and down out of the floor when you haven't been able to do that comfortably for several years because you're too big. Come on. That's huge. That's a huge win. That's a huge inspiring win. And you should be proud of yourself for that win. And you should be thanking your coach up and down all over the place because that's huge. Life is so precious. And those grandkids need you down there playing on the floor with them. That is their memories. We don't want to take that away from them, right? These are things that you have to get together in order to prevent plateaus. Your sleep. You're working on 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I know that sounds like a lot. And when you're in menopause, it's like having a newborn baby. It's like an accumulation thing again. But just try really hard to get at least 6. Work on that 8. If you need to go to bed earlier, come on. Put on your big girl panties and go to bed freaking earlier. You know what? If your coach schedules coaching calls at 8 p.m. when she should be in bed too, you can watch the replay. And it's okay. It's okay to do that. If you have a coach, reassess your goals with them. Readjust your expectations. Talk about what's bothering you. Like, I sucked this week. She's going to be like, no, you didn't. You are here. Today is extra. So you don't suck. You 100% are successful because that's what we do. We help you to realize not only how valuable you are, but how good of a job that you are doing. And the other side is we're not afraid to give that little spanking of, let's do more this week. That's not going to change unless you actually give me at least 5 or 6 workouts. Make sense? Okay. Stress is a real thing. It's really important that you are doing something to handle your stress. If you are not doing something to handle your stress, maybe that's something you need to add into your vision board if you have one, or you need to add into your goals for 2024, because stress is something that will absolutely affect your metabolism. Speaking from experience, when my whole world wrecked, my metabolism dived. It just nosedived. And I didn't know if I was going to come out of it. Everything went down. I was depressed. I was having suicidal thoughts. I was gaining weight. I felt miserable. I felt worthless. Those sorts of things. Those kind of all go into that stress factor. But that's where a coach comes in handy, because you need to say things to her like, I'm so sad. I'm so depressed. I'm so stressed, because I have such a sympathy for that. But I also know how to help you. And there's a lot of coaches that know how to help you through that. That's what we do. We're just there. We're not therapy. And I always try to send people to real therapists if they really, really struggle, because sometimes we do need medication. Sometimes we do need help. But reality, sometimes you just need somebody to say, hey, you're doing great. And that's what I'm really, really good at. You are worth fighting through a plateau. On the other side of every single struggle is your victory. On the other side of every single struggle that I have had, when I stopped listening to other people who didn't necessarily have my best interest at heart, and I was listening to my gut, I was listening to what I believe is the Holy Spirit, that silent voice that was helping me to hear wisdom and understand what is happening around me, my life began to change. And that may be true for you too. But reality, you are going to have to change things in order to change. So if you have thought about hiring a coach, keep tabs, stay in touch with me. I'm usually pretty available for questions, almost always. And in fact, if you have any, put them in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. This is what I do. This is who I am. This is my livelihood. And my whole passion is helping women. And so let's just talk about making sure that your nutrition's on point. So just some quick pointers if you want to get a pen and write this down. This might really help you. Take the weight that you want to be. Multiply that by 12. That is the calorie intake that you would need to deficit that weight. Telling you that for a purpose. Now, take your current weight. Multiply that by 12. That's the deficit for your current weight. So you need to be somewhere in between those 2 calorie intakes to lose weight, period. Don't drop toward that low end. What do we talk about? If you're eating too few calories, what happens? Metabolic adaptation comes into play, because the calorie expenditure can't support what's happening in the body, right? Your body can't keep your brain alive and lose fat. It's going to have to take the muscle to keep the brain alive. Does it make sense? Okay. So within your calorie intake, have about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight for your ideal weight. Let's say it's 140 pounds. You want to be eating 140 grams of protein. Then have your fat be between 25 and 30%. And then the rest of it needs to come from carbohydrates. Now, having said that, when I customize for people, I look at they take a quiz for me so I know how their metabolism runs. And if it's hybriding at all, then we have to cycle things. But I don't always know that until I spend time with you. Some people need to eat tons of carbs all the time and have low fat. Some people need to eat very little carbs. Some people need somewhere in the middle. And I don't know that until I have customized a program for you. So don't discount, though, that just changing that one little bit of things should help you change. Then you may hit a plateau. Then you need to reach out to me, and maybe we need to sit down and have a consultation. Okay. Anytime that you want to do a 20-minute game plan, that is always free. That is something that I offer. Just let me know. Hey, I'm here, toned, lose weight, help, some kind of trigger word to help me know that you actually want to get on a Zoom call and spend some time with me and just kind of game plan, so that I can show you some of the things that are helping my clients, and just create a quick game plan that will help you at least start moving forward. Okay. Listen, I love you guys so much. I hope you found value in this. If you found value in this, I would love to get your biggest takeaway. If you could put it in the comments, that would be amazing. And I just really appreciate you so much. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not anti-doctor, and I'm not a scientist. I just know what I have learned over 20 years of working with women, working with metabolism, and I've helped so many women. Maybe the next one is you. Have a great day.